Changing your life. And I don't mean this kind of change. I mean changing yourself for the better. For anything to grow, there has to be change. I mean, even a tree starts out as a seed and then changes form into a sapling and then eventually becomes a big, strong tree with leaves and husks and bark and all that stuff. But for humans, it seems to be the hardest thing to do, which is why most people don't do it. But you know, that's where all the rewards are. Let's take a look. I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. I used to carry around a gold coin kind of similar to this one right here. Not to spend, but because it reminded me of wealth. And it was a symbol for me of what was to come and what I could achieve financially. As a thank you for your support, I want to give you a little piece of motivation to remind you of what you can achieve and the results that you can get in life. So, when this channel hits 500 subscribers, I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. These coins are real currency from around the world that have been plated in 100 mils of fine gold. Now, this might not make you rich, but it just might give you enough inspiration, as sometimes just holding a little bit of wealth in your hands can make you feel a certain way and drive you to go out and achieve the best results. My hope is that you not only achieve all of your financial goals, but also that you then take that knowledge and go out and pass it back to the world. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, like this video, and you are automatically in the running. For just a minute, I want you to forget any failures you think you may have had in the past. I want you to put aside any mistake you think you made, any bad decisions. And all I want you to focus on is what you want your life to look like. This is the fun part, right? I mean, you can write this down, you can close your eyes and imagine it, but I want you to say, well, if I've always wanted to live in this part of town or this style of house, I see myself there. Maybe there's a car you've always wanted to own or drive. Maybe you would like your relationships to be better, not just at home, but maybe with your boss or your supervisors or the people you work with. Maybe you want to make a certain income, right? Or even have a certain job. This is the part where you get to imagine anything you would like to have and think about how to do it. Now, of course, this involves change, the thing that humans are mostly trying to avoid. The truth of the matter is most people don't change. Have you ever known someone, or maybe you yourself went to a high school reunion, right? People will tell me all the time. I mean, I know people from every walk of life and every age from, 18 to 80. Sometimes people will come to me and say, oh, I just got back. I went to my, 30-year high school reunion, and God, people don't change. I mean, I ran into my buddy from school and we were like best friends in high school, and he was exactly the same. I mean, a little bit heavier, of course, maybe a few less hairs on the top of his head, but he was the class clown then and he's still the class clown now. Of course, there was the girl at school who was the, kind of nerdy bookworm and kind of quiet, and she's still over in the corner with the nerdy bookworms being kind of quiet. And there was the playboy, right, who was always after every girl in school. And, his story, of course, is that he's been married and divorced and married and divorced and, 3 kids and 3 ex-wives later, he's at this high school reunion literally staring down, the potentials in the room, right? I mean, people don't really change. Yeah, physically they might change just like a tree does, right? Who you are at your core, your inner being, that's what I'm talking about. Right? Because, if you've always liked sports, well, you still like sports. If you're a beer person or a wine person, well, you're still a beer or wine person. If you're the type of person who's always trying to be the center of attention and you have a little bit of an ego, well, you still kind of have that. People just don't really change. We may have things that we look at differently, and maybe we're trying to grow in certain ways, but for the most part, people actually do stay the same. Let's look at what the statistics say about change. One, most people avoid change like the plague, meaning if they don't have to change, they don't willingly do it, not by their own accord. Two, most people actually give up if they don't get immediate results, meaning they try something, right? Whatever it is. And if they don't get immediate results, we're looking for instant gratification, especially today. But this has not changed in a long time. When we don't get the result we want right away, well, we don't want to fail. So we just move right on. We're not going to try it. 2/3 of all people also do not find learning something new or studying interesting. So they don't really want to learn or study. We do that in school because it's expected of us and we kind of have to. We do it in college pretty much for the same reason and we think we'll get a better job. But we don't even do it at our jobs unless it's asked of us. Most people just kind of keep their head down and do as little as they can because as a society, all the statistics show that we do not want to learn something new if we don't have to. And most people find studying boring and mundane and don't really want to do it. Fourth thing is that 9 out of 10 people actually believe that their life will be very different someday. Wow. No wonder we are all in therapy. So you're telling me that as humans, we avoid change like the plague. We don't enjoy learning new things. We find that if we don't get immediate results, we're going to move right on. But somehow, we are magically going to develop a life in a few short years that's going to be very different than the life we're living today. No wonder that we are all depressed. We are literally scratching at the surface trying to get results, but we don't know how they're ever going to come, and we certainly aren't taking the actions to do it. What does that tell me? It tells me that most people actually believe that life is something that's happening to them. See, that's the difference between most people and the 1%. The 1% feel like they are actually taking the actions to get what's called a result or an outcome, meaning we want our lives to look like something. So we set out a very specific plan and we make the changes to achieve that outcome. And even if we don't get it, meaning we failed, right? We didn't get the immediate results, we do it again and again and again. Why is this so difficult for most people? Tony Robbins likes to say that everything we do in life, we're either doing it to gain pleasure or avoid pain. Now, sometimes change can be very painful. So that's kind of true. I mean, if I go to do something and it's not what I've always done, I may fail at it. I may not enjoy it. It might require me to learn something new and it might be uncomfortable, and discomfort is associated with pain. So I'm going to go for pleasure every time. And that's what humans do. Let's go for what's easy, what's already there. But once again, if you continue to do what you've always done, how can you expect a different result? That will drive you nuts. How do we do it? If we actually are ready to make changes, if you want to make changes in your life, maybe you want to make more money, maybe you want to live someplace better, maybe your relationships could be more successful, maybe you want another job, whatever it is, if you are going to move forward and actually achieve an outcome like the 1%, an outcome that you want, how would we go about doing that? This formula has actually been around for a long time too. I know I say that sometimes, that there's different formulas for things, but the formula starts with one word, and that's action. More specifically, taking action. You see, action is the only thing that is really rewarded in life. When you do something again and again and again, then you are taking the action towards what you want to do. One of the ways that we don't take action is we just get cluttered, right? Our mind is cluttered. We say, I want to do all these things, but I just don't even know where to begin. I call that mental junkyard. So the first thing you have to do when you take action is you have to declutter your mental junkyard. Have you ever gotten to someone's car? You know, maybe a buddy will come by and pick you up, and literally, you open the door and they're like sweeping off the car seat to get rid of the trash. Maybe there's a coffee cup. Maybe there's some wrappers from food. Maybe there's a gym bag they don't use and a pair of sneakers on the floor. And they throw everything in the back, which already looks 10 times worse than the front. But you're sweeping off the seat so that you can sit down. This is what their card looks like. It's kind of like a little bit of a junkyard, right? I've been in people's homes, and same thing. If there's a flat surface in their house, it's probably covered with something. It doesn't matter what it is: paperwork, mail, laundry, groceries that just came in, anything, old empty water bottles. And if it's a flat surface and it can hold something, it does. Same thing in someone's office, right? My office, I have to keep it a certain way so when I walk in, my mind is uncluttered and I can think about the project at hand. But I mean, I've gone into people's offices at the town hall and saying, hey, I just need the paperwork on the permits for this property. And they'll, hold on, I think it's in this file. And they open up their desk and it's not there. And they go to some paperwork on a pile on the floor in a milk crate and it's not there. And they slide open a closet and there's banker's boxes in there and it's not there. And well, you know what, if you can come back tomorrow, I'll dig it up. Not the place I want to be. I'm obviously in the wrong office. So when we get rid of this mental junkyard, then you're just decluttering the mind. And sometimes to start to do that, what you do is you declutter your life. So maybe you do clean your car, maybe you do clear your office, but it's the beginning of having a clear mind so that you can think, and then you can do the most important thing, which is what? Taking action. If you're truly going to make changes, then why not start by making them in the mind and making them in the real world by cleaning up your life? The next thing you want to do, and these are all tied together, of course, is get organized. What is it that you're going to do? What is your goal, right? So you're going to basically get organized and come up with a plan. When you're organized, then two things happen. One is you create good habits because you do the same thing over and over and over. And that's completely aligned with taking action, right? You're doing something. There's movement involved. But then you create discipline. A lot of people associate discipline with maybe being in the military, right? Where they do things over and over and over and over, and it's very systematic every day. But all discipline is a habit. When you create good discipline, you're creating good habits, and you do that through organization. The next thing that's going to lead you to, of course, is goal setting. Now you can say, here's what I want to do, here is my goal, and then you can decide that if something's a dream, you're going to kind of put it over here in that category, and it's okay to dream. But what is a dream versus a goal? A dream is something you think about, you talk about, maybe it would be nice to have, but there's no plan involved. It's just a dream. Goals are different. Goals you plan, you write them out, and you actually come up with a plan of action to achieve a goal. So goals also need proper motivation, and sometimes I find the way to get that is through myself, just reading, learning, doing right. What you're doing today is trying to grow so that you can achieve your goals, and you're motivating yourself. You're your own best cheerleader, but sometimes that true cheerleading comes in the form of a role model, and I've sought out role models in everything I wanted to do, from being a better worker to being a better musician to being better at finance. There are people who have come before me and done an outstanding job, and I call them role models. And what I do is I try and learn. You see, anyone who has achieved what I want to achieve, but that's come before me and done it, has left sort of a map, has left sort of a blueprint. Success does leave tracks, and you can follow those tracks, and you do that through role models, people who've come before you and achieved exactly what you want. They made changes. Not everyone who has everything at the end of the rainbow started out with it. Most people, if not all, didn't. We were all born into this world the same way. So change is going to take serious effort. So it starts by clarity, having mental clarity, so getting rid of your mental junkyard, getting organized, setting goals, and then finding your proper motivation. And I also want you to understand that that motivation doesn't always have to be in the form of something positive. I'll kind of give you an example. Motivation is motivation. But some people might say, well, I want to look like this, and that's why I want to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds or 20 pounds. And that's a lot of work. I mean, weight loss is not easy. So you may have pictures of the role models that you want. You may say, I want to look like this. I want to feel like that. You may say, if I lost 15 pounds, I would feel better. If I lost 15 pounds, I would fit into clothing, and I think I would look better in that clothing. That would all be positive motivation. But I've seen it work with negative motivation as well. What might one example of that be? There was this woman I was talking to one day, and we get to talking, and she said she wanted to lose some weight. And I said, well, why do you want to lose weight? And she mentioned all of the positive motivation, but it wasn't really moving her. There wasn't really any energy behind it. Yeah, she'd look better. She thought she would feel better and all that stuff. But she said, I was at this Christmas party, with, my sister, and my sister's always getting on me, that skinny little, she used the B word, of course, right? And all of a sudden she got very, motivated, and she said, if I lost 15 pounds, she wouldn't even believe it. She wouldn't even know what she was looking at, because she's always telling me that I can't lose the weight and that I'm not disciplined and blah, 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 blah. But all of a sudden I saw her got charged. And I said, that might be your motivation. You may want to do this for you. And of course you want to do it for you first, because you're the one who gets the benefits and the biggest result from it. But you know what? If it makes you feel good to walk into that room and know that you sort of put her in her place, then that's okay too, because motivation is motivation, and you're not hurting anyone, and at the end you're getting the good results from it. You're getting the positive results. So just think that proper motivation is just proper motivation, but it doesn't always have to be exactly positive motivation. In closing, I just want to say that anyone can change their life if you set out to do it, and if you turn it into a goal. A dream is a dream, but a goal has a plan and is something that you take action on. Life is not meant to be hacked. It's meant to be lived. So you want to live your best life. And to do that, all you need to do is just get started. And remember that today is actually the first day of the rest of your life. My name is Daniel F. Margasa. You are watching the Almost Criminal Millionaire. And if you enjoy learning about the topics of life and the health and wealth of your future, as well as your bank account, then please like and subscribe for more.